Have you ever wondered if true cinematic love actually exists outside of the movies? The kind of love that feels like destiny. A quiet hum in the universe that suddenly rules to life when you meet that one person. It's a feeling many of us dream of. A connection so profound it seems written in the stars. Today, I want to share a story with you. It's not a fairy tale, but it has all the magic of one. It's a story about two people, Leo and Clara, who were living parallel lives, completely unaware that their paths were destined to cross in the most unexpected way. This is a story about how love can find you when you least expect it, and how it can transform your world into something more beautiful than you ever imagined. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive into a journey of timing, connection, and the beautiful chaos of falling in love. Leo was a cartographer, a man who spent his days charting the world but felt utterly lost in his own life. He mapped coastlines, mountains, and sprawling cities, yet his own heart was an uncharted territory. He believed in logic, in straight lines and coordinates. Love, to him, was an unpredictable variable, a messy equation he'd long given up on solving. He found solace in the certainty of his work, in the quiet company of old maps and the smell of aged paper. His evenings were spent in his small apartment, surrounded by atlases, tracing journeys with his fingertips that he never dared to take himself. He was content, or so he told himself, living a life that was predictable and safe. He had friends, a stable job, and a routine that kept loneliness at bay. But deep down, a quiet yearning echoed in the empty spaces of his home. He longed for a story of his own, a journey not marked on any map. Meanwhile, across the city lived Clara. She was a florist, a woman who spoke the language of flowers. Her world was a kaleidoscope of color, fragrance, and life. She believed in signs, in serendipity, and in the unspoken connections that bind us all together. Each bouquet she arranged was a story, a celebration of a new beginning, a comfort for a loss, a declaration of love. Yet, her own love story remained unwritten. She'd had her share of almosts and not quites, relationships that bloomed brightly for a season only to wither away. Despite the heartaches, her spirit remained hopeful. She saw beauty in impermanence, in the way a flower wilts to make way for a new bud. She trusted that her own season to bloom would come. She just didn't know when. She poured her heart into her little flower shop, a vibrant oasis in the concrete jungle, hoping that one day someone would walk in not just for her flowers, but for her. Their story begins on a Tuesday, an ordinary, forgettable Tuesday. A sudden downpour had ambushed the city, turning streets into rivers and sending people scurrying for cover. Leo, caught without an umbrella, ducked into the first dry place he could find. He shook the rain from his coat, his eyes adjusting to the dim, warm light. He was standing in a flower shop. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth, lily, and something sweet he couldn't quite name. It was a world away from his sterile office of paper and ink. And that's when he saw her. Clara was standing behind the counter, gently misting a fern, a small smile playing on her lips as she watched the rain outside. She looked up and their eyes met. For a moment, the world outside, the rain, the noise of the city, all of it faded away. There was just this quiet magnetic pull, a silent acknowledgement that passed between them. Leo, usually so composed, felt a nervous flutter. He wasn't a man who frequented flower shops. He didn't know a daisy from a daffodil. He felt clumsy, out of place. He pretended to browse, his fingers ghosting over petals as he tried to think of something, anything to say. Clara watched him, a gentle amusement in her eyes. She recognized the look of a man completely out of his element. "Lost?" she asked, her voice soft and warm like the air in the shop. Leo turned, a sheepish grin spreading across his face. "A little," he admitted, The rain caught me by surprise. They started talking. It was easy, effortless. He told her he was a mapmaker, and she was fascinated. "So you draw the world," she said. "And you," he replied, gesturing to the vibrant life around them. "You make it beautiful." In that small shop, surrounded by blooming flowers while the storm raged outside, something new began to take root. Leo left that day with a small, potted succulent, a plant he was told was hard to kill. It was a start. He found himself making excuses to walk past her shop, hoping for another chance encounter. A week later, he walked back in, the succulent still miraculously alive. He bought a small bouquet of wildflowers, telling himself they were for his apartment. Clara smiled, knowing they were just an excuse. Their conversations grew longer, deeper. He learned about her dream to visit the lavender fields of Provence. She learned about his secret desire to sail around the world, a dream he'd confined to the pages of his atlases. They were opposites in so many ways, the logical mapmaker and the whimsical florist, but they found common ground in their shared loneliness and their quiet, unspoken dreams. They were two halves of a map, finally coming together to form a whole new world. Their dates were unconventional. He'd bring her to archives to see centuries-old maps, showing her how the world had changed, how coastlines shifted and cities grew. He explained the precision, the history, the stories hidden in the lines. She, in turn, would take him to sprawling botanical gardens, teaching him the names of flowers and the meanings they carried. She showed him the wild, untamable beauty of nature, the life that couldn't be confined by lines on a page. He taught her about structure, and she taught him about freedom. He gave her a vintage compass. "So you never lose your way," he said. She gave him a packet of seeds for forget-me-nots. "So you don't forget where you came from," she whispered. They were learning each other's languages, charting the territories of each other's souls. One evening, Leo took Clara to his favorite spot, a high hill overlooking the city. As the sun set, the city lights began to twinkle, creating a new kind of star chart on the ground below. He unrolled a large, custom-made map. It wasn't of any country or continent. It was a map of their story. He had marked the flower shop where they met, the park where they had their first picnic, the old cinema where they'd watched a black-and-white movie. Each point was connected by a dotted line, tracing the journey of their time together. At the center of the map, he had drawn a small, unnamed island. "This," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "is for our future. It's uncharted territory, and I want to explore it with you." Clara's eyes filled with tears. For the man who dealt in facts and certainties, this was the ultimate declaration. It was more than a map. It was a promise. Love, like any great journey, is not without its challenges. Leo's logical mind sometimes struggled with Clara's go-with-the-flow nature. Her spontaneity, which he loved, could also feel like chaos to his ordered world. And Clara sometimes wished Leo would be less planned, more impulsive. There were moments of doubt, misunderstandings born from their different ways of seeing the world. But they learned to navigate these differences. They learned that love isn't about two people becoming one, but about two individuals learning to build a bridge between their separate worlds. He learned to appreciate the beauty of a detour, and she learned that sometimes having a map can help you discover even more beautiful destinations. Their love wasn't a perfect, straight line. It was a winding path, with beautiful views and occasional rough patches. But it was a path they were committed to walking together. Their story is a beautiful reminder that love isn't something you find. It's something you build. It's built in the small moments, the shared laughter over a cup of coffee, the comforting hand on a bad day, the courage to be vulnerable. It's about finding someone who sees the map of your past, with all its wrong turns and dead ends, and still wants to help you draw the map of your future. Leo, the man who charted the world, finally found his true north in Clara. And Clara, the woman who nurtured life, found her roots with him. Their love story wasn't an explosive, dramatic blockbuster. It was a quiet, indie film, full of nuance, beauty, and profound heart. It teaches us that sometimes the greatest adventures don't require a passport or a plane ticket. Sometimes the greatest adventure is discovering the world in another person's eyes. So what can we learn from Leo and Clara? We learn that it's okay to be a little lost. It's in those moments of uncertainty that we are often most open to discovering something new. We learn that our perceived opposites can often be our greatest complements, balancing us out and teaching us a new way to see. And most importantly, we learn that love requires courage, the courage to step into the flower shop, to buy the succulent, to share your secret maps, and to invite someone to explore uncharted territory with you. Their story isn't just about romance. It's about the motivation to open our own hearts to take a chance, and to believe that our own beautiful, unexpected love story could be waiting just around the corner, perhaps in the shelter of a sudden rainstorm. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of connection and hope. Until next time, keep your heart open.